Durant's got Ginobili on him. Give and go. Curry.
Yeah.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We talking about practice.
Nope.
You're serious.
Yeah.
Give it up. You get it back.
Oh, beautiful. Give back.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Give and Go podcast presented by Sport.media. We are back for season number 2 of the Give and Go podcast. Back again. My name is Daniel Freeman and I'm joined as always by Dylan Brown, Jed Lanyon and Jared Gardner. We have a big show today. We're going to go through some of the biggest talking points heading into this season and then reveal way too many predictions so we can look stupid in about 8 months' time. But we are going to start this week's episode with, and for everybody who's sick of Lakers talk, you can start rolling your eyes now.
No one's sick of it.
But they are the biggest talking point heading into this season, and unfortunately for those who are sick of it, they probably are going to be the biggest talking point no matter what happens for most of the season, mainly because one, LeBron James is now a Laker. Now, the big question is, there's been a lot of people saying that the Lakers are the biggest challenger to the Warriors this year just automatically because they get LeBron, which considering how good he's been in recent years and for the last 15 years is a fair statement. But this team, obviously last year, did not make the playoffs, didn't really get close. Does adding LeBron automatically take them into a genuine contender?
I don't know about genuine contender, but they are a playoff team, and I reckon they're at top half of the playoff spots for the Western Conference. So it makes them into a really good playoff team in the West. But when you think about it, you're in the West, and you've got Houston, and you've got Golden State, and you've got a lot of other teams who are sitting around that kind of 3 to 6 mark, especially last season. That
with the logjam we had.
Yeah, that can really make the jump and can win a lot of games. So it's really going to be an interesting one going into next season or going into this season.
You want to throw to me?
Yeah, because I know.
Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah,
we're going to be second in the West.
You are the
we
Lakers.
are better. We're better.
The Lakers are going to be second.
This is my point of view.
Okay, here we
and
go.
Stephen A. said this as well.
No.
Even though Houston Rockets have added a pretty, I reckon Carmelo's going to be really good this year.
Yep.
Defensively,
No, it's a net
come
loss
back
defensively with Ariza
really,
and Luke Mute.
Exactly. So, and the way the Lakers have built this team, it's about playmaking and defense. And Houston showed that if you can defend them well, you can be with them. So I reckon the Lakers can be with them. It's only on the scoring end that I've got queries about.
Yeah, there's merit to the fact that Houston looked to have the Warriors most rattled through their defense. It wasn't their explosive offense. It was when they had them locked down with that small ball.
If they missed all those threes in Game 7, they would have won.
We might have had a different outcome. Now, obviously, the Lakers last year finished with 35 wins, 11th in the West. To get into the playoffs last year was 47, but then the jump to third was only 49. So, as we said, that logjam, they are going to be in that mix. And if we look at, we talked about the playmakers, they do have, if you put LeBron, Lonzo, and Rondo, they are three of the better in terms of, you could probably, LeBron and Lonzo still prove himself, but they're three of the better passing players in the league, which comes down to the pace factor. The Lakers had the second fastest pace last season. We've already seen through the preseason they want to play quickly. LeBron has not played quickly in previous seasons. So in the last 4 seasons with the Cavs, they ranked 12th, 16th, 28th, and 25th in pace. Even back in his Miami days with Wade, the Heat never ranked higher than 15th in pace. If the Lakers were second last season, they're going to push it up even further.
Are you worried about LeBron having to push the pace?
I don't think you can really ever worry about LeBron because he's just superhuman. But at some point, this is his 16th season. He is going to be turning 34.
We've been saying that for
I know.
6-7 years now.
I just think it's interesting in terms of it's a different style of...
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun to watch with those playmakers there.
Especially when they are going to be pushing the ball, as we said.
Yep.
Another hole that we've got the meme team, which there's some people who think the meme team might actually, show glimpses. I don't know, in 3 months, I'm not so confident we'll be talking about glimpses. I think it'll be more cracks. But on top of the meme team, they do have a big hole at centre because you're relying on JaVale McGee pretty much. They've even gone and played Kuzma at certain points in the preseason there. That might be all right for crunch time minutes, but I don't think that's reliable. That's not a sustainable way of
that's
playing for a
a
whole
whole
82-game season. Exactly. You're just going to destroy Kuzma or if you play LeBron there as well. And McGee, I don't know if you can trust him to play 82
As his
games.
starting center.
Yeah.
Obviously the loss of Brook Lopez is probably, left a bigger hole than they thought.
They do have
Yeah, what do you
Zubac,
do?
so...
Yeah, but he didn't.
No,
He
I
kinda
know, but
missed
it's
that
just
next
another
step in his
body. But
development,
yeah, it's another body there. But McGee's never
Fell
played
out
a
of the
full
rotation.
season. He's only appeared in 65 or more games in just half of his 10 years in the league. So relying on him to play, 90+% of the season is going to be a big call. The other question is Brandon Ingram, because last year, so I said the Lakers won 37 games last year. 35 games, sorry. And LeBron with the Cavs won 50. Now, yes, they didn't have Kyrie, but they did have another All-Star in Kevin Love. Now, I know he himself even admitted he was probably the last All-Star selected, but he did average a tick over 17 points, which no Laker last year averaged over 17 points.
Well, Ingram 16.
Yeah. So Ingram, Kuzma, and Randall were all just over 16. So it's that question of, can Ingram take the next step? A lot of people think he can. There's a lot of people.
He's looked good in the preseason.
He has. It is the preseason. But no, I agree in terms of his shown potential.
Yeah.
But can he take that next step?
Well, he can,
Yeah.
but it's almost like the way I'm looking at it is 2 or 3 players averaging 16 is better than one averaging 17 and then
Drop
others
off to
averaging
9 or something.
others averaging 9 and 8.
Yeah.
I think with a couple of different players who can go off on different nights, like Brandon Ingram can have a great night, and then there can be another player who can
Kuzma
go off
or-
and score 20, 25 on any night. So
Sir Lancelot.
just having a few different options
Yeah.
maybe works better for the Lakers than having a second All-Star like Kevin Love, who's the go-to guy if it's not LeBron.
Yeah. Well, I mean, last year he jumped his scoring from just under 10 to just over 16. He also we saw jumps in his field goal. His 3-point percentage jumped up 10%. Big jump in assists and rebounds as well. So I think he is ready to take that next step.
And he's only just turned 21.
No, he's still so young. It's his third season.
So even if it's not this year, next year, we're going to see good things from him.
I remember the game last year against the Warriors.
Yeah.
I think we won, actually.
Yeah.
He was key to that.
He's shown glimpses. It's about consistency.
Yeah.
We've seen, as I said, even in the preseason, he had a 30-plus point game.
Are you
He's done
saying he
that.
can take down the Warriors, Brown?
No,
I'm not putting that out there yet, but I'm just saying.
not yet. We're holding off on that
We're
for a
holding off
little
that
bit.
train yet. But
Bit.
he's shown glimpses, and even KD, I think, said himself, he reminds him a little
Yeah,
bit.
well, he's got the potential. He's got so much potential, and if he makes that jump, I honestly reckon if he can jump from 16 to low 20s, we're talking 21, 22, which I think is possible for him. I think the Lakers, then we're starting to get into that realm of, maybe we can have a challenge. I don't think for the first or second seed, I disagree there. But in terms of they will be able to mount a challenge to some of these better players. All right, really quickly, just to finish up with Jed on the Lakers. Lonzo, when he comes back, which is likely to come back against the Warriors yesterday, we're going back in time, against the Warriors tomorrow. Should he start over Rondo or should Rondo start?
Absolutely. I think Rondo's
Absolutely
fine.
should start over him.
Absolutely. Lonzo Ball,
Yeah.
the future of the Lakers, will start over Rajon Rondo.
Yeah.
Rajon Rondo signed a 1-year contract. He's perfect as a backup. I mean, he won't like that at all. But he's here for 1 year. Lonzo's here long term. Lonzo recovering from the knee injury. Rondo will be perfect to complement the starting lineup. But Lonzo's going to take over.
Yeah, it's also hilarious how Rondo's gone from terrible teammate to suddenly coach in the making. Credit to him because he has changed. Like the perception about him has completely changed to the point now where we're saying he's a good teammate.
Still preseason. Though.
I know, but even last year in the
yeah.
playoffs, he was really good for the Pelicans.
Him and Magic watched film with Lonzo over the preseason, so he's shown that he's becoming a greater teammate. I think that's partly he's realised, if I want to get another contract.
Yeah.
Because I think it was a bit of a shock that he didn't get a big deal after how he played in the playoffs. So.
He's competitive though. Like he wants.
Oh
that.
yeah, he's a competitive animal. We know that.
But it's like, will that bring out the best or will that clash?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see. And I also this clearly isn't the final iteration of the Lakers, whether it's this year before the deadline if they make a move, but clearly Magic's aiming for as well the free agency class of 2019. So we'll have to wait and see how they go this year. I don't think they're really going to be contending for a championship genuinely this year unless they make a splash before the trade deadline. But we'll have to wait and see. They're gonna be fun though.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, they're gonna be fun
They'll
and
be
they're gonna be
watchable.
entertaining.
It's always good when Laker Nation's up and
Yeah,
about.
well, there we go. All right, moving on to Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Butler, who has informed the Timberwolves a while back that he wanted a trade, otherwise he will seek to leave via free agency at the end of the season. This has been going back and forth. We're kind of almost at an impasse at the moment where the Timberwolves and Heat seem the two most likely to get a deal done. Jimmy's okay with going to the Heat, but apparently they almost had a deal done where there was Josh Richardson, possibly Bam Adebayo on a first-round pick, but then the last second Minnesota asked for more. That fell off. Do you think a deal is going to get done before the start of the season, or is this going to drag out?
It'll drag out.
Yeah.
I don't think Miami should be giving up Josh Richardson.
Yeah.
And if they're asking for Richardson, Adebayo, a first-round pick, and then something else, they're dreaming.
Well, I think as well, Minnesota's trying to get off Deng's contract, which is still about $48 million for 2 years. So I think
Miami's not the team to release him to.
Do you think they get a better offer than something like that? The Wolves?
apparently the Wolves, from what the reports are, the player they would like the most out of the teams that Jimmy said he'd be interested in going to would be the Clippers with Tobias Harris. But the Clippers won't give Tobias Harris up. So I think that's what they ideally would want. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's that Thibodeau clearly doesn't want to trade him. That's fairly obvious that he doesn't want to trade him. So, but at the same time, Butler's making it very clear that he doesn't want to be there. He hasn't been training with them.
And the front office of pretty much the same, wanting to clear him out, right?
Yep. Now, Butler, he's a four-time All-Star, and he's a brilliant player. But is he, when we're talking about how much he's worth, is he really going to be the best player on a genuine championship team?
Nope.
No.
He'd be probably at best second, if not third option.
I think he's the second best player on a championship team
Yeah,
because
I'd
I
agree.
think he provides so much on both ends of the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But he just
that's-
doesn't have that. He's
Yeah.
not the number one, though.
No.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he can be number one and score 25, 30 points a game and then do what he does defensively as well.
Yeah.
So he's not the number one guy, but he is a second guy on a championship team.
Yeah, and I mean, he's clearly one of the best two-way players in the game. I mean, Kawhi's healthy. You can throw Clay in there. He's a bit better offensively. But in terms of two-way player, he's elite.
Yeah.
So he certainly is worth a fair bit. It's just about finding that balance, considering Minnesota's losing some of its power because he's going to walk out. Like, it seems like he'll walk out at the end of the year anyway. So they're going to have to get something done. I'm not sure from the Heat's perspective if they add Butler, if it's actually going to... Yes, it will make them better, but I don't... Because the Heat have a lot of really nice pieces without having a real star. Whether this gives them their star, but at the same time, that still would have them in my books behind the Raptors, Celtics, 76ers, and in a fight with the Pacers and the Bucks for that 4th and 5th seed. If they finish below them, they're in the same spot as last year. And I don't know, I'd give the edge to Bud and Giannis, and I like the Pacers. So I don't really know if it makes that much of a difference, but...
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes them better because...
Oh, it certainly makes them better, but does it
It's-
really get them further up the standings?
I think it might just simply because they're playing in the East.
Yeah.
And
Well, the Cleveland will drop out,
Yeah.
but then...
it's going to be an interesting season for the Heat. It also depends on how early they can get the deal done. Like, they'd want to get the deal done now so they can prepare him for the start of the season. Whereas if you trade him 2
Halfway
weeks into the
through,
season, then it's like you've got to almost start again.
Yeah,
So-
There's a
exactly.
deadline. There's no value
Yeah.
for him.
Yep, and the Timberwolves, obviously they won 47 games last season in that thrilling last game, win and go into the playoffs, lose and go home against the Nuggets. If they lose Jimmy, does it push them back out of the playoff race? They've clearly committed to Cat with the 5-year deal they gave him, but if they lose him, are they back out of the race again?
Yeah, I think they're in all sorts.
Yeah.
Even just the uncertainty, I think, will affect them coming into the year. You think 47 was just enough to make the playoffs last year, and they had their struggles.
Yeah.
But do you think they can get back to that 47 win mark? I just can't see it.
Yeah, I
Even
think...
if they're around that mark.
Yeah, well, they said that mark, especially now that the Lakers are expected to go in there as well,
Yeah.
that mark might be higher. The only other thing with Butler is the fact that he's only played over 70 games in 2 of his 7 seasons. We saw last season he only played 59 games. He's a very, very good player and clearly makes your team better. Just look at the Timberwolves last year. They were so much better when he was on the floor. But he has had his injury worries. it's not serious injuries like your big ACLs or those kind of things, but they're concerning to the fact that he's not being on the floor as much as you'd like him to.
Is that the Tom Thibodeau effect again coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. As I said, Thibodeau does like to play 48 minutes for his
Yeah.
starters nearly every game, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, moving on to Kawhi, who very nicely decided to get traded one day after our last podcast. So we haven't actually got to. Well, even it's not really Kawhi's fault, but we haven't got to talk about Kawhi joining the Raptors. Brownie, are we going to see the return of MVP level Kawhi, or is it going to be? Can he not get back to that level?
Well, from glimpses what I've seen in preseason, I think he can get back to that level. And if he does, the Raptors are a big chance of making some noise in the East.
Yep, they're going to be really good. And we saw as well before let's not say the word Zaza, otherwise Brownie will get he'll start losing it. But in that game when the Spurs were versing the Warriors, he does look like the player who threatens the Warriors the most, which, I mean, if you've got him on your side, it always helps. And I think for the Raptors, it is a huge risk because it could be a one-year rental. Like, we said that with Paul George and he stayed, but Kawhi, in all likelihood, I think if you're a betting person right now, you'd be saying the odds are he's not going to be there next year. But is it the right move in seeing that Toronto hit their ceiling with the Lowry and DeRozan combination?
Yeah, I think it is the right move for a team that's that close.
Yeah.
Can see how far they can push further, especially in that East, where it's a matter of. Well, I know they lost to the Cavs last year, and we talked about how much of a
the
joke
Cavs every year.
But adding a piece like Kawhi, it feels like they're a lot closer than what they have been.
Yeah.
So adding Kawhi, and even Danny Green.
He's a good
think
shooter.
Yeah.
The most uncertainty comes from their coach.
Yeah,
'Cause they lost. Well, they got rid of
Dwayne Casey, and now it's Nick Nurse. But Nick Nurse, a lot of the sets they were running, and that we talked about their ball movement last year, that was Nick Nurse's offense. So it'll be interesting to
smooth
see.
transition.
Yeah, I think it'll be fairly smooth. I'd say it would be similar. I don't think they'd make too many changes.
Nah, yeah, I see them kind of. They're basically the same team. I think DeRozan is a very good player who is great offensively in patches. He kind of has times where he kind of slows down a little bit. He's a really good defensive player. So,
but Kawhi's
another level if he's healthy.
That's the question exactly.
And even having Danny Green there doesn't leave a huge hole in that guard spot.
No, and especially they had one of the best benches in the league. They've still got that. They only lost Pirtle in that deal, so it's not like they lost 2 or 3 of those young pieces who were so good off the bench. They still have those pieces. So I think they're going to be around there. I would still be hedging towards the Celtics if we're talking number one spot in the East. But
what about over the Sixers?
Yeah, they're going to be around there. But yeah, well, we'll see that in our predictions later. But the other one as well is, if I was the Raptors, I would just risk it and see if you can get a deal done for Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler.
I'd just do it. I think Butler and Kawhi as a combination would be lethal.
That would mean Kyle Lowry.
Yes, it would mean getting rid of Kyle Lowry, which...
And that means they could be left with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
They could be left...
I know, that is very
Yeah.
true. No, that's very true. It's risk reward, but
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
When you do say it like that, you could have no Lowry and then Butler and Kawhi walk out.
Let's be honest here. It's hard for Toronto to get all-stars, so this might be the closest they'll get to a championship. Maybe you just say, well,
take it, roll the dice.
Take the risk, yeah.
That's the thing, because we're not talking about, a Lakers franchise or something like that, which are going to eventually draw people in. I mean, you have to have Popovich trade you to the Raptors to get Kawhi to go to the Raptors. It's not the kind of place, as good as they have been recently, it's not, your free agent market that some of the other bigger clubs are. All right, moving on to the chasers. And the question is, are the Celtics and the Rockets, which I think from most people's accounts you can throw the Lakers in there, but as well the Celtics and the Rockets seem to be the two that are the closest to getting over the top of the Warriors, which seems almost impossible at this point, but we've got to find a way to make this season interesting. So are the Rockets and the Celtics, have they got closer than last year, or are they further away?
I think the Celtics are closer, just naturally.
By adding back
Brown and Tatum, just natural growth. Yeah. And then, of course, Gordon Hayward
and Irving.
I think the Rockets aren't as close. Maybe like a Celtics-Rocket series, the Celtics would go over.
Yeah.
But, I think they're going to challenge the Warriors? I don't think so.
No. But let's just start with the Celtics. As you said, Hayward is a huge addition. I think we overlooked the fact that he was an all-star. Yes, again, he was probably a Kevin Love level all-star where he's one of the later one pick, but he's still
An
averaged...
all-star in the West.
Yeah, he still averaged 22 points per game in his last season with the Jazz. He's still a really, really good player. And then as well, you got Irving coming back. And they're so deep now because when you put those two back into the starting lineup, it probably will be something along the lines of Irving, Brown, Hayward, Tatum, and Horford. Then if they want, they could send Tatum or Brown to the bench and have Morris come on as if they go a bit taller. But then on that bench, you've still got Rozier, Marcus Smart, Ogilvy, Morris, and Bain. So that is a deep team.
Yeah.
And they've got the best coach in the NBA. And they had the best defense last year, which we saw did challenge. That was the one area where Houston challenged the Warriors through their defense. So... I don't know. I think a 7-game series, if it went to 7, which is a big if, I think a final series between the Celtics and the Warriors would be interesting if DeMarcus was below 80%.
You forget about DeMarcus.
Which is a big if. Which is a big if. But, yeah. I think they have a genuine chance. I think the Warriors deserve... They did a survey with the GMs where they said who's most likely, all the NBA GMs were interviewed, and 87% said the Warriors would win, which I think's fair.
Yeah.
But then 7% was to both Celtics and Boston. I think they deserve that. Moving on to Houston, as I said, they've lost Ariza and they've lost Mbamute. They've added Carmelo. Now the question is, I think that makes them a little bit better offensively, especially if Melo can slot in, which he has looked decent in preseason, but it's only preseason. But he has looked quite good. But is the net loss on defense the biggest concern against the Warriors?
No, because I'm going to make a big case for Houston.
Here we go.
And you're going to see it later in
What
my
a
predictions.
surprise.
But I've got a real soft spot for this team, and I think you just look at their squad. You look at the loss of Ariza, you look at those, but then you look at the squad they actually have this year.
It's still good.
A guy like Marquise Chris is
Jury's
good defensively.
still out on him, yes.
He's not going to have an impact offensively, but he doesn't need to. He'll be a backup defensively for Houston.
Yep.
Brandon Knight, I think, is a solid player and can come off the bench and score.
Yep.
A guy like James Ennis is a really underrated signing for
Should
Houston.
he start? That's the question.
I think Melo's going to start.
Yeah.
But I think Ennis coming off the bench is huge for Houston.
Yeah.
He was great. And I'm going to say this as a Detroit fan. He was at Detroit for the second half of last season. He was a great pickup for Detroit.
He's not a household name, but he's really good.
He isn't. But yeah, he has forged a very good career for himself. You've still got Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
Capella. PJ Tucker as well. A guy like, and this is probably the lowest one, Michael Carter-Williams. It's going to be amazing when we get to the conference finals and we're going to see Michael Carter-Williams against Sean Livingston. That's going to be the weirdest point guard matchup that I didn't expect in the conference finals, but I expect to see it this season.
And Carter-Williams, I know it's preseason, it's so easy to overreact, but he looks semi-decent through the preseason.
He is a good player and he's a great distributor.
Yeah.
And I followed him throughout his career and he has a three-point shot intermittently. When he's knocking them down.
So does Ben Simmons.
When Carter-Williams is hitting them, he can get hot and he can hit a couple in a row. So, but he's a really good distributor as well, and he's really tall.
Yep.
So I think he's a good player for Houston.
Yeah. And moving on to obviously there's all those ones, but Melo is the big question. And we talked about how important Brandon Ingram's season would be in deciding what the Western Conference standing is like. I think Melo's probably in that top 3 as well, because if we see Thunder Melo, I don't think Houston's going to be able to challenge the Warriors. But if we see Melo super early, but Melo, who's fitting like he is at the moment in the preseason, he's knocking down about 50% of his threes, apologising for taking twos, which he doesn't need to apologise for that, but it's the idea that he knows the system.
To the Rockets, you probably
it's more the fact...
three or go to the paint.
I know, but it's more the fact that, he seems accepting of his role. Whether that's going to change because I know one of the preseason games, Ennis did start and Melo did come off the bench, so we'll have to see how.
I'm just looking again at the squad.
Yeah.
They might even shift Melo to power forward.
They could.
Because you're not going to start Capella and Marquise Chris.
Yeah.
And is Nene going to be starting power forward for Houston?
Probably not.
I think it might be an option to start Melo power forward.
They have played Tucker.
But yeah, it'd be
Melo's
they're going to be starting small.
Melo is not coming off the bench.
Brownie
I can guarantee
with the definitive word.
I'm telling you now, there will be massive issues if that's the case. Because Who they got to start? If they had Ariza still there, then yeah, he might take that. But
I think Ennis
you're not going to have
eventually.
Ennis starting over him.
I think he will.
There will be
eventually.
issues. Tyler Ennis starting over
Not
Carmelo.
Tyler.
Crazy
Ennis.
how it's such like an ego thing in the NBA. It's like
Yeah.
I have to be on the court
Oh, sorry,
while it
James
starts.
Ennis.
Yeah,
You can
that's
play
it.
30 minutes
I got
regardless.
it mixed up.
Tyler Ennis
But you have
certainly
to be
isn't
there.
starting instead of Melo. The last thing that a lot of people are concerned about are Melo's mid-range. I don't think that's an issue because of Houston's system. We saw Chris Paul is the absolute master of the mid-range. When he came in the last season with the Clippers, he shot 53% of his shots came from the mid-range. First year with Houston, that dropped down to 42. Melo last year was 47% from the mid-range. So I think he's lower than what Chris Paul was doing. I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think it's going to be defensively.
I think Melo would rather shoot threes anyway.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, yes, he likes his, fake to get open for the two, but I think he can fit in this team offensively. It's the other side. It's if he can avoid becoming Ryan Anderson 2.0.
Well, that's where you think
that's
he might.
if he's unplayable.
He might come off the bench if he can't be relied on
Yeah,
defensively.
We'll have to see. I mean, Ryan Anderson rode the bench for the playoffs, so we'll just have to wait and see. But at the same time, we're saying all of this, but if DeMarcus comes back at over 90%,
It's a wrap.
it's going to get ugly. All right, let's get into our predictions. A bit of crystal ball time. We have way too many of these we're going to go through, but we can laugh at them later when we get them all terribly wrong. We're going to start with our awards nights, plus we've thrown in a few extra ones. So we're going to go through MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, Sixth Man, and First Time All-Star. So we're going to start with MVP. Brownie, kick us off with your MVP for the 18-19 season.
This is pretty obvious.
Here we go.
LeBron
Yeah,
James will be
what
the
a
MVP of this
surprise.
season because he'll bring the Lakers back to relevance.
Yep.
Probably get about 55 wins and he'll
55.
wrap up the MVP award.
All right. Did
I
not see
agree.
that coming.
I'm
So,
with Brownie. I think
yep.
just for this 1 year, it's going to be fun at Lakerland, and we get to see LeBron re-energized, reinvigorated, and he could win the MVP.
Can win the MVP or will win the MVP?
He'll be in the discussion.
Who's your tip?
Yeah, LeBron.
Okay, good.
But
That
if
was
not, he'll be right there.
A bit of fence sitting. Jared?
Okay, here's how I'm going to say this.
Yep. Don't say LeBron.
Okay. I think Kevin Durant will be the best player in the league this season. But I think
Oh, no.
I think
Oh, no.
Different discussion.
but I think LeBron will be the MVP simply because of how it's voted on.
Yeah, that's two arguments.
The way that the MVP is voted, it's voted by media. They want to
The
look for that
narrative
story.
part
They're going to
of
look
it
for that
as
story.
well.
The Lakers bring LeBron, the King comes to LA, wins an MVP,
Yep.
takes him to the playoffs. That's why I think he'll win the MVP, but I think Kevin Durant will be the best player in the league and be the deserving MVP.
Okay, well, I might need to restrain Brown in a second. Jed, you might need to help me because I can't. All right, my MVP this year. Look, I won't be surprised if it's LeBron at all. I think, especially if the Lakers get a top 4 seed in the West, I think LeBron's going to be just the narrative behind it. We saw, like with Westbrook, with the narrative, the difference between he had a similar season last year and his MVP one. Yet last year we're saying he doesn't, like, he's not deserving of MVP at all. And the season before we're saying he deserves it. So I think LeBron will have the narrative. I'm going Anthony Davis.
That was my
yeah.
second option.
I think he's going to be right there. And if the Pelicans I said
That's the thing with
losing
Pelicans.
DeMarcus, but, Alfred Payton. Yeah. And Julius Randle as well. I don't know. I just think AD is going to have a huge season. So
Where would
I'm
the
going,
Pelicans have to finish though? Because we know AD can deliver, but can the Pelicans?
Yeah, I got him top 6, but we'll have to see. We'll reveal that later. All right, let's go a bit quicker. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. Rookie of the Year.
I'm going with a dark horse in Colin Sexton.
I like it. Yeah, nice.
Ben Simmons again.
Oh my gosh.
Somehow, someway. No, Luka
Doncic.
Doncic.
Yep.
That's
No,
I
he's
struggle
looked
to say his
he's
name,
looked very good over the preseason. Could lose a little bit of weight, but he's looked very, very
Ooh.
good. No, I think if you just look at him, he's still got to get the NBA body, but talent-wise,
But he's a rookie,
he's
so
got it all.
Yeah, I think Doncic on the Dallas.
Yeah, well, we know you love Doncic.
I've also got DeAndre Ayton
Yeah.
and Jaren Jackson will be very close.
Yep.
I think the smoky is Miles Bridges. I think he's had a really good preseason.
Yep,
And
he
I
was
think,
some of his putback dunks.
I think
well,
he'll
really
be
nice.
he'll be right up there, and I don't know. But yeah, I think Doncic will be the rookie of the year.
All right, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Next, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm gonna go Ayton. I wasn't sold on Ayton, and preseason's so easy to overreact, but I really liked what I saw out of him, and yeah, he's a man mountain already. I just think he could be so good, especially he's going to get so much opportunity on that Phoenix team. All right, defensive player of the year.
Kawhi Leonard.
Ooh, big call. I like it though.
It's hard to go past Kawhi.
You're going Kawhi for 2 years in a row. All right.
I'll say Rudy
I
Gobert.
love Kawhi.
Rudy Gobert, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm exact same. Rudy Gobert back to back for the Stifle Tower. All right, most improved, Brownie.
Devin Booker.
Yep, I like it. Although he's going to have to come from an injury, he's going to miss the
I
start.
think he's going to take it this year. He's going to take his game to another level.
There's been a lot of people saying he could play almost a James Harden role because they don't really have a point guard. Do you see that or more shooting guard?
More shooting guard, I think.
Yeah.
He's
It'll
more
be
of a
interesting to
scorer.
see. He is more of a scorer, but if he can add that element to his game.
Most improved, Brandon Ingram next to LeBron.
Yep.
I'm annoyed about this one because I had DeJounte Murray.
Oh, and then that,
And then he's done his
yeah.
ACL.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I thought he was going to have a great season. I've gone with Aaron Gordon.
Yep, I like it. He was in contention last year, but if he can take it up to the next level. No, I agree with Jed. Brandon Ingram, 6 man.
I've got Julius Randle.
Yep, that's a good one.
Ooh,
Because
yeah.
he'll
But he might
Playing
start.
alongside
That's the only
Davis.
thing. If he starts at power forward, but
just depends whether or not he comes off the bench. But if
Yeah.
he does, I think.
yeah, it
he's got the
depends if they
potential.
go Mirotic at power forward or if they go with Randall. But yeah, I like that one.
Hard to go past Lou Will, as always. But Dennis Schroeder could be another one. OKC.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Jared, you're 6 man.
I'll say Tyrek Evans.
Yep. I like that one as well. I got Sweet Lou. You just can't go.
Yeah.
Can't go past Lou Williams. All right, first time All-Star Brownie.
For the West, I got Devin Booker because I think
Well,
he's
if
going
he's
to
going
have
to
a big
be
year.
most improved, he'll
Yeah.
probably be in there.
And for the East, are we going?
We're doing both. You can go
Go
both. I only got
I've
one.
got for the East is Simmons. I
Yeah,
reckon he's
yeah.
going to finally make it.
Yeah, Ben
Finally
Simmons.
make it after one long year.
Ben Simmons was robbed.
Yeah, suppose in the East he should have made it last year.
here we
Anyway.
go.
Yeah, Ben Simmons and I had Ingram as my most improved.
Yeah.
Could have been Booker, so I'll go Booker for my first time All-Star in the West.
All right, we're doing both. I don't have both prepared, but go for it.
I'm going to go Aaron Gordon
Yeah.
in the East.
Yeah.
I think Ben Simmons is a lock.
Yeah.
I think it's just
It's the easy
Gordon's one that
Yeah.
I think will make it.
Yeah.
In the West, I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I like that one. I'll cheat then and say Simmons. I think that's the easy one. But for my West, I got Jokic because DeMarcus will obviously not be there. So I reckon it's down to Cat will make it, I'd say. Then it's down to probably Jokic or Gobert. But I just reckon Jokic is a bit more fancy and the voters like it a bit more than the
What about-
Stifle Tower.
For the East, then, some roughies. Miles Turner,
Yep.
Nikola Vucevic.
I don't know about Vucevic. I think Turner could be interesting for most improved.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Most
Vucevic
improved,
though.
yeah.
It's a good one though. All right, moving on to our standings where, look, we're just going to try our best here. This is very rough. We're going to go through. All right, Brownie, kick us off first with your standings in the East.
The East.
Yes, the
All right.
East. Start from the bottom, go up. if you
Bottom
can.
up.
Yep,
So
bottom up.
8.
Yep, 8
Cleveland's
through
dropped
1.
down to 8.
They're still going to make it though.
I think they're still going to make. I think they've got enough.
Yep,
The Wizards.
Yep.
The Heat.
5.
The Bucks.
4.
Pacers.
Yep.
Raptors. 76ers and the
Disrespect.
Celtics.
Ooh, Pistons are nowhere in sight. Jared cries. Jared. Actually, sorry. Keep going with your West as well. We'll go through
The
all of them
West?
this switch. Yep.
From the bottom.
Yep, from the bottom.
So we got the Timberwolves. Depending if they got Jimmy, then they'll just scrape in
Yep.
at the 8. Jazz, Trailblazers, OKC, the Spurs.
Yep. Oh, the
Houston.
Spurs up in 4th with
Yeah.
no Murray.
I think
Lonnie
they'll
Walker
still-
injured.
Popovich
Yeah,
is
okay,
that good.
okay.
I reckon they'll still be there. Houston, the Lakers,
Oh,
and
no.
Warriors at top.
Okay. And finishes off with your worst record in the league.
Worst record, I think that's Charlotte.
Charlotte. Gee whiz, that's going to be a big fall. Even with Kemba.
Yeah.
I'll jump in on that. I think Charlotte will trade Kemba Walker, so I think that's
Yeah.
a good pick.
No, very well could. All right, biggest slider.
Well, Cleveland.
Cop out. Biggest riser.
Lakers.
Oh, here we go. What a cop out. All right, Jed, let's start with your East from the bottom. You better put the
I was
Pistons
tossing
in
up
there
between
to make
Pistons or
Jared
Hornets
happy.
for that 8th seed, but I don't
But
want to go
now-
the
now-
Hornets now, and Brownie's gone there. So go Pistons, Heat,
Yep.
Wizards, Pacers, Bucks, Sixers, Raptors, Celtics.
Yeah, I think the East, especially that top 3, is pretty set. It's just
Yeah.
after that. Your West from the bottom up.
Nuggets, I think they'll take the Timberwolves spot.
Yep.
For improvement. Blazers, Spurs, Jazz, Lakers, OKC, Rockets, Warriors.
Yep. I think the Thunder will surprise you, except for the fact that Roberson set back with 2 months with that injury, which that's a big.
Okay,
that
I forgot about
hurts.
that. I didn't realize.
I got him too high as well, so it's all right. Actually, wait. And your worst record in the league?
I don't know if it'll be worst record, but the worst team I think will be the Kings.
Yep. And biggest
Can't trust
slider?
them. Slider.
Don't cop out.
I'm trying to think about that.
And
Oh, the
Daniel's
Spurs.
editing.
It has to be the Spurs.
The Spurs.
Just for the
loss
overhaul of the roster. I
Yep.
think it's gonna be big changes.
Biggest riser?
Riser will be. I think OKC will surprise.
Okay.
Top 4 in the West.
All right. Jared.
You guys been disrespecting Detroit.
Where's Detroit finishing?
So
8 seed.
From the bottom.
8 Miami,
Yep.
Washington,
Yep.
Milwaukee, Detroit,
Oh
5th.
my gosh.
45
yes.
games, lock it in, at least.
That's a bit more.
Indiana, Toronto, Boston, Philly, number 1.
Philly number
Wow.
1.
I think they'll win the most games in the regular season. I don't
Yeah.
think they'll come out of the West.
Yeah.
Come out of the East come conference final
Yeah.
time.
Your West.
The West, I've got New Orleans at 8, San Antonio, Denver, OKC, Los Angeles, Utah.
Clippers or Lakers?
Lakers.
Oh.
Utah in 3rd,
Ooh.
Houston and Golden
Utah.
State.
All right. I like it. Worst record.
Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah.
Biggest slider.
Minnesota. I think
Hmm.
without Jimmy Butler, that I don't think Cat is number 1 option on a
I think we
on a good
forget
team.
how bad they were before they
Yeah.
got Butler.
Yeah, I've got no hope when they lose Jimmy Butler.
Biggest riser.
I've got Detroit. Why not?
Here we go. No, well, if they're going to finish, where do you have them? 4th, 5th, then they'll definitely be
Yeah,
the
for
biggest
sure.
riser. All right, in the East, I have the Pistons in 8th spot. There you go. I got them in. The Pistons, the Wizards, the Heat, the Pacers, the Bucks, the 76ers, Raptors, and then Celtics in the number 1 seed. In the West, Trailblazers. It was a toss-up between Trailblazers and Spurs, but after DeJounte Murray's injury, I'm going Trailblazers. Nuggets, Pelicans in 6th. Lakers in 5th, the Thunder in 4th, the Utah Jazz in 3rd, the Warriors in 2nd, and the Rockets as the number 1 seed. I think they're going to gun for that number 1 seed again, and I don't think the Warriors care again.
Yeah, they won't care.
The worst record in the league, I've got Atlanta Hawks. I don't think Trae Young's going to be a bust, but I do think he's going to have a really rough first season. I think we're going to get a lot of 1 for 10 kind of games. Biggest slider, I got the Trailblazers. I don't think because they're going to lose that many more games than last year. They won 49, and I think they'll be around the 45, but it's just such a logjam that a few games could see them slide out. And biggest riser, I got Memphis. I think with Gasol and Conley back in, they only won 22 games last year. You add Jaren Jackson Jr., who's a really promising rookie. They're not going to make the playoffs by any stretch, but I think they can hit 35 wins, which considering they won 22 last year, I think should get them to the bottom of the playoffs. Yeah,
improvement, yeah.
round that kind of Clippers, maybe Mavericks if Doncic is as good as everyone thinks he is round that level. And the last one, which we forgot to do, champions, Brownie. Who's taking home Larry
This
O'Brien?
is a shock. Obviously, it's the Warriors.
The Warriors, yeah.
And if they have DeMarcus Cousins, they'll just sweep through the playoffs. It's going to be.
It
Yeah,
could
won't
get
be fun.
ugly.
So you think
Yeah.
16-0 to the playoffs?
If they have
That'd be
DeMarcus at
interesting.
full strength,
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
help everyone else. Jesus.
Yeah, Warriors.
Warriors, yep.
I'm gonna say Houston.
Oh my gosh.
I've been on the Rockets bandwagon
Said
for
this
a
last
season
year.
now. I'm just trying to will it into existence.
I want you to be right so badly,
Yeah.
but I can't agree. I
It's
think
so
it's going to be
close.
the Warriors.
So close this
They
year.
they got so close last year,
Yeah.
but DeMarcus, they can't play their small ball if DeMarcus is healthy. But he will literally score 75 points on PJ Tucker. Like he's going to force their hand. But if he's below 75%, then I'm more
Talking percentages
more
now.
leaning. Then I'm more leaning towards Houston. Although I don't sleep on the Celtics. With Brad
Celtics.
Stevens and that best defense, if they can stay healthy, I think they're going to be interesting. But yeah, I think the Warriors have probably got it wrapped up. Unfortunately, as annoying as that is, hopefully we're wrong. But who knows? One injury away, anything could change. Not that we're wishing injuries on anyone, but anything can change. All right, that is the first episode of the Give and Go podcast, season 2 wrapped up. We'll have one coming out in the next couple of days, wrapping up all the Aussies performances, and then we're going to be back after the first week. So not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after, to wrap up the first week of action. Thank you for watching this time instead of listening. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.